and we are here today for a special board meeting on June 25th. And I'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are privileged to meet on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Squamish and Stafford Nation. We have an agenda recommendation. Is someone prepared to make that recommendation?
That the agenda of this meeting be approved.
Thank you, Melissa, and we do the seconder.
Second.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Lisa. And we'll skip straight down to. Oh, all in favor? All right, that is passed. I'm trying to hustle us through. Sorry, not saying that. Oh, one more time just to see if all in favor. At least four. Okay, thanks. Hang up. Okay, now we will move to number 6B on our agenda, which is information items, and we'll begin with Superintendent Nicholson, who's going to discuss an item that came up at our last meeting as a question from the public, just as a follow-up on that, and that is our video surveillance board.
Yeah, thank you so much. So as folks recall, there was a question regarding the policy around privacy, and one item in there was about video surveillance. And in the policy, it is stated that there would be a report to the district on the use of surveillance in the district. And that, as I expressed at the last meeting, was something that we have not been doing to my knowledge. I will say I'm very thankful that that was brought up, and to share as well that that is a policy that we'll be reviewing next year to determine whether that's the board would like that to be at a public board meeting in terms of a conversation, if it's something that we post to our website annually, because the current policy, in my opinion, isn't clear when it says report to the district. Does that we have lots of reports that go on our website that aren't necessarily done at a board meeting. That said, I appreciate that it was definitely our miss. So what I can share is that our video surveillance policy is followed year to year. We have very strict protocols around who has access to the surveillance, where it is stored, for how long. We follow all the proper procedures around the destroying of recorded information. And again, if there is need to review surveillance, if there's any concerns around potential vandalism, criminal behavior, etc., that is done in accordance with the law. If anything is criminal, of course, that is done following proper procedures with the RCMP. But I will remind the public that if there were instances, we would not be, for privacy, we would not be sharing with the public that there were criminal investigations into X, Y, and Z. They are maintained by our facilities department year to year, and I know there is also public notice and postings in all of our buildings where there is surveillance. That said, I do note in the policy where it states that any new installation of video surveillance it needs to go through PAC, not for approval, but just for information for the parent community. So I am not, I don't have all the information from the last meeting in terms of where we are with all those pieces. So I don't want to assume that any new cameras that may or may not have been installed went through PAC. I'm not aware of them at this time. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, and that wasn't communicated to me. So what I can assure the board is we will be following up with schools, with maintenance, with our IT department, just to ensure that I'll have a fulsome information ready, but I do not have that information at that time. Because full disclosure, that took, I think, all of us by surprise. I don't have a completed report at this time. But I can assure you that any reviewing of those video for like police related instances, all of our folks know that's not for us to share out or discuss or to do anything with, unless that's with the support of the RCMP. We're bound by video surveillance laws, as are all public institutions, all districts, hospitals, etc. So I don't know, Ian, if you have anything to add to that conversation at this point in time.
No, yeah. No, I don't really have anything to add. However, if you do update or replace surveillance cameras, it is typically to replace something that's already there. There have been a couple of instances where there's been new systems put in, but primarily it's replacing old, obsolete, existing cameras with better equipment. So systems are already in place. I don't know if any school where there is an update where system did not exist previously. So
Yeah, again, for the record, I'm not aware either. However, I don't have 100% surety because I haven't received all that information back from every school, and I don't disingenuous in my report. So I'll have a more fulsome report for September. I know that does go against the policy about the report being done in June. But this is a report I'm able to give at this time, so I hope that satisfies the board.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. I do think that's a lot of good information. I think that we've already established a good foundation to even help guide work that will happen on that policy when it comes up review shortly. And there's clearly an obvious attention to the importance of privacy and in how we use these devices, and I feel that with everything you've said and that we're proceeding in the best way possible. But with that said, I'll ask if there's any other questions from others at this time regarding the video surveillance. Okay. And thank you for offering us to follow up with a more detailed report, maybe September or October, whenever that's ready. That will be, that will, again, a piece that we can add to the body of work that can help guide when we work on the policy. And not as with all of these policies, things change and more information comes to light, and we can just make them better as we move on. So if there's no other questions, we'll move to item B, which is the Pemberton Arts Council Mural request. And we have an updated mural. And we can see that on the screen right now, except we do that, and we can't see the agenda. We moved on the big screen, and now I just finished the agenda. Okay, keep on. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to turn this over to Chris, Superintendent Nicholson, because I see your name beside this. Would you like to begin the conversation?
Yeah, I think what I will begin by saying appreciate the work done between the last meeting and this one, where the board asked for more information and suggestions for updates. I will share, I believe it just came in, so this is the first time I'm seeing it as well. So I think that I don't want to put Krista on the spot as principal of the school, but I wasn't made aware this was until last night that this came in. So this is the first time it came in this morning. Thank you. This is the first time I've seen this. So I guess what I will say respectfully is that I have not had any time to review the mural, to consult with other staff members about the mural and their feelings. So I guess what I will say, in my opinion, we had asked, or the board had asked for some specific changes and information and requests if there was consultation and how the art may better represent the area. If asked my opinion, I'm happy to share it, but Krista may have more information to share without putting Krista on the spot at this time. Do you have any further information to share about the changes made to the mural? Thank you for being.
I'm just so hello everyone. I just saw it for the first time just now as well. I know that Clea has done, this is really remarkable that you've done such a quick turnaround. I know she's been collaborating with the nation because I've been CC'd on those on that work. So just looking at what Chris, maybe what we should do is hear from Clea on what the recommendations were and to see how they've come into play. Can we do that, Chris?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that, Clea. So why don't you explain what your consultation looked like and what changes you made, and then we can kind of go from there.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for having me. So after our meeting, I reached out to, I sent an email to the cultural chief, Gil Cal, but I haven't not heard back. But then I contacted Andrea Blakey, who's the executive director of Speckleton Community Forest. And she had some great recommendations about the cultural burning. And she was saying instead of having flames and showing the cultural burn itself, we can show the effects, like what it was done for, which is to have food and bring the animals back. So her idea was to have a berry bush and have some deer and some mushrooms. And so just show that end result so that when the FireSmart team comes, they can, start the conversation about the cultural burn. And also there was Chris Fervage from the Lillooet Forestry Ventures, who also agreed with those points. And so that's when I went back to Alex, who's the muralist, and he was copied on all those emails as well, and he added those elements. And also we had the idea of course, adding Quakma, the name of Pemberton in the first language. So that's why it's added on the sign. And sorry about the fact that you only saw this morning. It was a pretty quick turnaround, and I apologize for this, but I hope that you see the changes. There was also a change in the mountain, so that's been changed as well.
I wonder if at this time, I'll ask if everyone's had a chance to look at the new mural. And maybe if you're okay, we could share the screen so everyone can take a look right now.
I have part of the conversation from Chris Varge. So he said they're currently starting to implement cultural burning back onto the landscape. He said if we include a bear or deer, that could take place of the dog, and add a berry bush in the background on some scorched earth. Berry bush in the background on some scorched earth, that would be good talking points. Benefit the cultural burn. Is the burn behind the 911 sign?
There's the burn under the berry bush.
Oh, that's the burn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this will spark again. So this mural is to help the FireSmart team when they come to the school and explain all the different things that they do, and also it would be visually pleasing for the community as well. If you show the other, maybe if you share the screen with the other, like when the mural is on the side of the of the building. Maybe that will also make it more easy to visualize.
I do appreciate you doing that. I always like that when I get an idea.
Yeah, just to see, like, it's very bright colors. I think it will be a great addition to the school. And there's nothing scary, or, you know, like it can just
Mhm.
start the conversation about fire smart. So, you know, with the sign, with the fire risk level, and yes.
I think everyone's just taking a second to observe. And can you just repeat for me, who did you say that you consulted with from the nations?
Sorry?
Oh, who, if you, I know you mentioned that you did some consultation with people from the nations. Could you just remind me or tell me once again who it was that you spoke with?
So I reached out to a few people, but I received feedback from Andrea Blakey, who's the executive director of the Speckleton Community Forests. I do not know if she's from Lillooet Nation, but there's also Chris Thavarsh. Not sure if I'm saying his last name right. He works for the Lillooet Forestry Ventures, and I'm not sure if he's Lillooet, but I also reached out to a few other people.
Are there any?
But that was their feedback. The feedback was to, you know, and that was the main one of the points from last week's meeting was to have some indigenous elements. And that's the feedback I got. So
Yeah, thank you for that. That's good. Good. We do have a couple of questions from trustees in the room, so I'll turn it over to April.
Hi, I'm guessing that before before this piece of work was done, that an Indigenous artist wasn't consulted, engaged, any of the things. For myself, yeah, I think that this particular image is an improvement. I like the Indigenous word for Pemberton that's included. I like the addition of the grizzly over the box. I like that the mountains are different. I would have liked to see some Indigenous art in there. It would have been a way with an Indigenous artist to indigenize the mountains for sure. Maybe, but I'm disappointed that this went ahead without that piece. I mean, when this is a school and we have. Sure. So
can
that's-
I ask, may I add something?
Yeah.
May I add something? So this, I think I mentioned it last week, is that we offer 5 free spots for Indigenous youth to join the mural camp. So if we have Indigenous youth joining the camp, then, you know, that will also change. This is a draft and things can change in the smaller details. So I just wanted to add this as well. But yes.
Yeah, I think it, sorry, I
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
it looks significantly better, and I think it can get even better with the addition of some more, maybe like we just said, some fish in the river. If you could speak with an artist, an Indigenous artist, and maybe add an Indigenous sun, or I think some paw prints. And I think it's quite busy. Maybe like, does the barn have to be there? But maybe I'm getting too picky.
It doesn't have to be there. Yes, it doesn't have to be there. If it was just to show, you know, the town of Pemberton, that was kind of the idea behind the barn. But the barn can disappear for sure. There's The only thing also just to keep in mind is that it's a youth mural camp, so it can't be too complicated otherwise, because they only have, like, usually how we do it with the mural camp is that there's not really, there's just maybe a theme at the start, and that the youth, they come together with the help of the muralist and they come up with an idea. And so this time around, because it's on the school, it's a bit different because we had to pay Alex to come up with a visual beforehand. Yes.
And we took one more question from April, and then I'll bring it back to me, and we'll carry on. Go ahead, April.
Yeah, while I appreciate the involvement of Indigenous students, I don't think that replaces, this is going to be on our school in Pemberton for many years. And it doesn't, to me, it has excluded the Indigenous community, so with this version, yeah, I think I personally can.
Thank you for your comments. I think at this time, I'm going to thank you both very much for bringing back the revised images, and I'll thank you for coming and spending your time. If you could leave it with us for further discussion, and then someone will be back to you with the official reply. And I know your timeline we provided is quick, and so we'll get that to you as soon as we can. But I'll thank you so much for your time, and like I said, we'll get back to you with the official word. And thank you again for the time that you put into making the changes and resubmitting the image.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. And again, sorry about the short timeline. I apologize for that. And thanks for your time. Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you both very much.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, that brings us to our action items, the long range facility plan, and Mr. Curry, I'll turn that over to you right now.
That is me, and yeah, this is the long anticipated update to our long range facility plan. So this edition is the third update since the plan was renovated or rewritten in 2018. So there was an update from 2022 and now in 2025. And that the main change between the last edition and this edition is this plan has changed the focus from addressing rapid growth and increase in student enrollment projections to the current reality that we have where we've got flat or declining enrollment in the district. So the plan differs from the previous one that was more focused on how are we going to address rapid growth to acknowledging and working with the student numbers that we predict to see for the next years of life that are proposed. So this plan includes updates to spreadsheets, enrollment data, our facility condition information. We have a review by the VFA people back in 2022, and that the results of that survey, they went through all our facilities in 2022. That wasn't included in the 2022 plan. So that would put that information, our facility condition index information is now included, the updated information included in this edition. It also has our energy targets are updated to current information, as well as our energy projects are updated to show the current energy project that we've been working on over the last from the previous edition to this edition. And then as far as changes to the actual body of the plan, part 4 is different from the previous plan. It speaks to the just completed local knowledge study that was done by a consultant we had hired this year to look at to engage with our municipalities to ensure that we're not missing something with our barrier predictions moving forward. So we base our enrollment projections on the information provided by the Barter connection or their systems. And we put a lot of faith in it, but every few years we want to just double check and make sure that we're not missing something. So we engaged with a consultant this year, and the numbers, the predicted numbers are sound. So what we're predicting to see through Barrier, which we have used for many years, are reflected in the study. So the information speaking to municipalities, the type of developments that are projected and predicted coming on down the line, as well as who's buying those, is consistent with the information that we've been getting from Barrier. There are no surprises. So there's no major changes with respect to having to look at facility upgrades, addition to the pony growth pressures. We do have the minor blip at house on secondary that we're addressing currently, but that is reflected in the Barrier numbers, and it is reflected also in the study. So that's about all I've got. To speak to the changes between the two plans, does everybody have a chance to take a look at it? If you have any questions, I can do my best to answer.
I don't see anyone with any questions. It's a really long report and it actually takes in a lot of things that I was surprised got written. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to look like. So it's super thorough and I know you're the expert in this area and I feel like you've come up with a plan that accurately reflects what our district looks like and you talked to the changes, which seem reasonable to me. If anyone else has any comments or concerns or questions, now is a chance to ask. And if there are not, then we have a recommendation.
Board of Education approves the long range facilities plan as presented.
And April, thank you for seconding, and Melissa, thank you for making the motion. Are there any people opposed? There are no people opposed, so that means this motion is carried. So, Dean, thank you so much. We're still going really.
Yeah. Very thorough.
And no worries, it's a bit of a challenge because you're getting about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions or clarification from the public? You have no items to be brought in. Your bylaws. All right, seeing none. Then seeing that we have completed all of the items on the agenda, I would call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.